two depressed Saints fans talk about the NFC South, the drowning Saints, and the NFL at large. My name is Matt.
I'm the Quacker.
All right, Quacker. It is late on a Wednesday evening, and we just finished up NFL Week 11 and are headed into Week 12. We're also headed into, after this weekend, Thanksgiving week. And while that's sad for college football, it's the most exciting time in the NFL because things are starting to heat up in all of the playoff races and everything like that. So should be a fun show tonight. If you are watching live, we want to encourage you to interact, ask questions, make comments, whatever. Just if you wouldn't mind, keep it clean. And Quacker, why don't you go ahead and hit us with the news and notes?
All right. Jets cornerback Chris Boyd was shot in the abdomen early Sunday morning outside a Manhattan restaurant. He's been upgraded to stable condition. He's had to undergo multiple procedures to have a bullet removed from his right lung. He wrote on Instagram that he's coming along and has started to breathe on his own, so that's really good. I was reading, he's on the IR this season. I think he's a rookie. And it was late at night. Nothing happens. Nothing good happens late at night. It was like 2:00 in the morning. Him and a couple of teammates were outside this restaurant. There was some kind of scuffle or something broke out, and he got shot. It's sad to see. Hopefully he bounces back and is able to come back and have a NFL career. Hopefully this doesn't derail him in any significant way. Josh Allen has tied Cam Newton for the most rushing touchdowns by QB in NFL history. He also continues to add to his legacy with his performance this past Sunday. Only 3 times in NFL history, including the postseason, has a QB had 3 rushing touchdowns and 3 passing touchdowns in a game. Allen has now done it twice. Last season in Week 14 and a loss to the LA Rams. Of course, this past week, and then Otto Graham did it all the way back in 1954. So it had been a minute before that happened. Since Otto Graham, he just continues to absolutely blow me away. Though I love watching Josh Allen play. Definitely one of my favorite players in the league right now. Brock Purdy has returned to the 49ers starting lineup this past Sunday. Leading the 49ers to a huge win over division rivals, the Cardinals, throwing 3 touchdowns in his return. Aaron Rodgers has a broken wrist in his non-throwing hand. Says his playing status will be a safety thing, so we're not really hearing anything right now on if he'll get to play or not this week. Joe Burrow is one step closer to returning for the Bengals. Was a full participant in practice Wednesday for the first time since his injury. And of course he had the turf toe. I think he injured it in like week 1 or week 2. I don't remember off the top of my head which week it was. But for those who don't know, turf toe, while it sounds like it's not that big of a deal, it absolutely is. It affects the tendon in your big toe. Of course, it's what you push off with and walk with and everything else. So, he had to have surgery on it. It was like the worst grade injury for that ligament you could have. And that's also what Brock Purdy had going on. His wasn't quite as severe as Joe Burrow's, but it's good to see Burrow getting back to where he's possibly a week or 2 away from being on the field. So good thing there. And another week, another injury report listing for Lamar Jackson. Last week he missed practice with a sore knee. Today he missed practice with an ankle injury. After practice, the Harbaugh was asked if it was kind of like last week where he didn't practice today, but he'll probably be a full participant in the game. And he said most likely. So we'll see how that goes. But this has been a rough season for Lamar Jackson. Very, very injury filled. Saints cut wide receiver Brandon Cooks after he asked to be released. So that's one less weapon for the Saints offense to utilize going into their what are we in, week 12, week 11? Week 12. Yeah, so the Saints play the Falcons this week. It's one less weapon for them to have for rookie quarterback to throw to. Jamar Chase has been suspended by the NFL and fined a whopping $500,000 for speeding on Steelers safety / cornerback Jalen Ramsey. And the Jets have benched Justin Fields in favor of Tyrod Taylor, who is in season 4,368 of his career. Or at least that's what it feels like. It's actually only season 15, but he's been around the league forever. I think he was supposed to be the starting quarterback when Justin Herbert was a rookie with the Chargers, and the training staff for the Chargers actually punctured his lung right before a game, like the first game of the season, and Justin Herbert went in, and of course he's never been out of the lineup since. So, I remember Tyrod Taylor when he was at Virginia Tech. He had one of the greatest plays I've ever seen in a game in the Orange Bowl game. I think it was the senior year. I've always enjoyed watching him play. I'm sad to see Justin Fields continue to just kind of get. I don't know. He was so good in college, in the NFL, it just feels like he's had like one bad situation after another. Would love to see him in a stable situation, but I am happy to see Tyrod Taylor get a chance to start again. And that's kind of all we have for the news and notes. It was kind of a lot, but kind of a busy week going on in the NFL, which I guess they always are. But
yeah, and I agree with everything you said about Fields. I feel like he definitely has had a rough go of it, and it stinks because he seems like a hard worker and a guy who just wants to succeed.
Yeah.
So. All right. Well, yeah, and you and I talked about Aaron Rodgers before the season, and you mentioned what he said on Pat McAfee, and I kind of felt like it really just was going to depend, but I feel like another injury, kind of feels like, that's going to be that in terms of him playing, with him missing, what was it, 2 years ago, and then now this. So was it? I think it was it 2 years ago? Yeah, because no, he played last year. That's right, because Robert Saleh was the coach.
When he tore the Achilles 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Time passes weird now. I don't get it. So, all right. So let's jump right in. We're not going to talk about all of these games if this is your first time joining us. We do talk about the entire NFL, and we will answer any questions anybody has. However, we do spend most of our time talking about the Saints and the NFC South, because while in college we don't talk about the teams we cheer for, we are both Saints fans, and basically our whole family is Saints fans. So it is what it is with that. The Saints were off this week, so we're going to run off all the scores.
They couldn't hurt us.
Yeah, they couldn't hurt us. That's right. We're going to run off all the scores from last week and then talk about the games coming up, and then we will get out of here. So to start us off, last Thursday, it was the Patriots and the Jets, and to the surprise of no one, the Patriots won 27-14. I think the only surprise is that it was only 13 points. It's not really surprising because the Jets have been competitive in their losses, not unlike the Saints,
yeah.
but losing a lot more than they win. So And then the Dolphins won again. I think they're on a little mini winning streak. They've won either 2 or 3 in a row. They beat the Commanders 16-13 in overtime, and that moves.
This was the game that was played in the was it Real Madrid, right, in their stadium.
Yep.
And it says that Jack Jones did the Cristiano Ronaldo slide after he intercepted Marcus Mariota.
That's funny.
In overtime to steal the game. Yeah,
that's funny. Yeah, I didn't get to see it, obviously, but that's really cool. But yeah, so that brings the Commanders to 3-8, and the Dolphins are sitting at 4-7.
I think I can safely mark the Commanders off my list of teams that I had picked to win a division.
Yeah, but I think I do think though that one of the things with that was, it's like you said earlier, the injuries really kind of messed that up. So I didn't believe they would win the division, but like I've said numerous times, I don't want to take any credit for that, because I didn't think it would be because of injuries. I thought it would be for other reasons that it hasn't been.
Yeah.
And in another overtime game, and a bad result for us, even though Quacker and every other Saints fan besides me hates the Falcons the most, but a bad result in terms of division standings. The team with the better record, the Panthers, won the game 30-27 in overtime. That moves the Falcons to 3-7 and the Panthers to 6-5. I guess the silver lining there is that we're only one game back from not being last in the division.
Right. I tell you, Bryce Young actually absolutely went off in this game. 448 yards, 3 touchdowns. He had a great game.
Well, and go ahead.
I forgot to mention this in the news and notes, but Michael Penix is probably out for the season with a knee injury. So the Falcons lost Penix in this game. Yeah. Now they have Kirk Cousins as the backup. So it's not like they're going to be like, in a situation like the Saints have been in the past, where quarterback goes out and you're left with Jake Hayner, as your backup quarterback, but still.
Yeah, well, we were talking about Justin Fields. Bryce Young is another one that I feel like in his first year, like halfway through the year, people were talking like, yeah, he's just not panning out, and he's this and he's that. Mm-hmm. And I was just thinking, man, I have a feeling he's going to get it together. And sure enough, he has. And he's not rising maybe as quickly as Stroud or Daniels have, but I think he's definitely on an upward trajectory. He's another one of those that seems just like a good guy. I liked him when he was at Bama, and that's saying something. I don't like very many people at Bama. So,
his passing total for this game was a franchise record. So, I know.
Isn't that crazy? I know they've only been around for 30 years, but you would think in 30 years somebody would get 448.
I really
been
would have figured
a conference championship and a Super Bowl. So
yeah, I really would have figured with Jake Delhomme, that at some point he would have had 500 yards passing the game, because at that point he was throwing to Steve Smith when they went to that first Super Bowl when they played the Patriots. And that was a dynamic offense they had. So you would have thought at some point he would have thrown for 500 yards in a couple of years where he was a beast for the Panthers.
Yeah, that is surprising. But in the best news of the night, the Buccaneers lost. And for those of you who don't know, every Saints fan in the world except for me hates the Falcons the most. I hate the Buccaneers the most, and it's because I'm a Florida native. Never liked the Bucs, always been a Saints fan, and the Bucs always irritate me. I like some former Bucs players. I respect the heck out of Mike Evans, but anytime the Bucs can lose, I'm satisfied. So the Bills won 44-32. um, and they pretty much led throughout the game. It was 21-20 at halftime, and then the Bucks scored 6 in each of the final 2 quarters, while the Bills outscored them 23-12 in the second half. So that means the Bills are now 7-3, and the Bucks are 6-4. And here's what's interesting: the Panthers are 6-5, so it is not a foregone conclusion that the Bucks are going to win the South. The Panthers are within striking distance, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think the Bucks will win it, but the fact that the Panthers have a shot is pretty crazy. So, all right. So
part of the Buccaneers issue, and it kind of fed into this game a little bit, is like Washington. They've had a ton of injuries too, especially with their receiving core. So, like Baker's out there throwing to the water boy at some point. It's just, somebody's got to step up for him, because it doesn't sound like Evans is probably going to be able to come back this season. I know they lost another receiver during the game. I think they had like a third string running back running for him in this game. So it's just one of those things where they're continuing to make plays and win more than they're losing right now. But a couple more injuries, and they could be spiraling pretty quick. So
yeah,
if you're a Bucks fan, you're hoping you get healthy soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Titans kept their winless home streak alive. They are 0-5 this season at home. Their lone win came on the road by a point against the Cardinals. So the Texans, who by the way started 0-3 and have won 5 of their last 7, so they are 5-5, and they win the game 16-13. So interesting there. I mean, they're not going to win their division because they're contending with Indianapolis and Jacksonville, and but it's it is good to see Stroud and Ryans seems like they've got it at least back on the rails.
Stroud's missed the last 2 games. This was Davis Mills that was playing for the Texans in this one. Stroud, and I think Stroud's going to miss this week too. I don't remember what the injury was.
I didn't see the game. That's my fault. I thought he was back this week. But my point was that in the last 7 games, they've won 5 of them, and C.J. Stroud was a huge part of that. So but I thought he just missed the 1 game. But anyway, still a big part of the comeback. So the Bears beat the Vikings 19-17. That pushes the Bears to 7-3 and the Vikings to 4-6. And then the Packers went to the Giants and won 27-20. That means the Giants are now 2-9, and the Packers are 6-3.
Jameis played in this one too.
Yeah.
And it sounds like he's going to play again this coming week. So.
Yeah. He had very Jameis numbers though. 19 of 29 for what? 201 and an INT. So
yeah.
But you and I have talked about before, like what Jameis brings is a lot more valuable in the locker room and on the sideline than anything he's going to do on the field. So him just being there, being involved, I think is good. And did you say Joe Burrow is practicing again, or he's closer now?
From what I read, he was a full participant in practice today.
Okay.
So it was his first time. So.
Okay. So so the Bengals, I mean, at this point they are 3-7. If it were me, now Joe Burrow is going to have a say in this too, but if I were the GM and the coach, I'd be saying, hey, let's just sit the rest of the season, heal up, get better, get stronger. Because what you don't want to do is put him back in a season where there's no hope. And then, get him injured again. So, and now I guess the the one caveat to that would be that hold on. Yeah, I mean, so they're not mathematically eliminated. I mean, the Ravens are 5-5 and the Steelers are 6-4. So it's not like they are out of it. They are 2-1 in the division, but for some reason the NFL has divisions and you enter the playoffs via divisions, but your division record is not your most important, which has never made a whole lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
I get, okay, let me back up. I guess I get it because the way the NFL structures their schedules, you could conceivably win your division and be, 6-11. I get it. Right. But like, I just think if you don't have the best division record, you shouldn't win your division. I don't know that I have a good way to solve that, but anyway, I don't want to get off on a tangent there. But the Bengals are going to. They went to the Steelers. Gosh, words are hard, guys. And the Steelers won 34-12, so easy win there. I know they're looking forward to getting Burrow back. I saw a funny thing. Is it the Bengals have the the Bengals have the opportunity. This was a thing I saw on Facebook to do the funniest thing. So if they get Flacco, if they pick up Flacco in the interim, which it doesn't sound like they're going to need to, then he'll have all 4 Infinity Stones for the division, which would be pretty interesting. I just thought it was funny. I was just thinking, so anyway, it was funnier when I read it. I didn't do a very good job explaining it. So the Jags beat the Chargers in Jacksonville. That pushes 35-6. That pushes the Jags to 6-4 and the Chargers to 7-4. And then the Rams beat the Seahawks 21-19. The Rams are 8-2, and the Seahawks are 7-3.
I think this division here is going to be the most interesting division because you potentially have 3 playoff teams coming out of this division, and right now it looks like the Rams, they have a slim lead, and they almost kind of look unbeatable right now, but I know there's still a good portion of the season to go, so anything can happen. But I think this is a division that's going to kind of come down to the last couple of weeks to see who's going to win it. So this is an interesting, and this is a very close game, which you could really expect between the Rams and Seahawks. But it's just that Sam Darnold going to play better. He had 4 interceptions in this game. No touchdowns, but this is going to be a very interesting division to watch for the rest of the season.
Yeah, certainly is. Yeah, it is. And then the Niners took the Cardinals to the woodshed, 41-21. 41-22, and that moves the 49ers to 7-4, Cardinals to 3-7.
My boy Jacoby Brissett, though, he played his butt off in this game.
Yeah.
A lot of things didn't go right for him, but that did. I mean, 452 yards passing, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, but he threw 57 passes. That's so crazy.
I know.
That's insane. I wonder if anybody started him in fantasy. That would have been wild.
His complete percentage had to be pretty good too, because he only missed 10 passes out of those 57. So
yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. But that's crazy. So then the Ravens beat the Browns. They are now, as we said earlier, 5-5. Browns are 2-8. So 23-16. And was this Sanders' first game?
Yep.
Let's see what his numbers were like. If you watched,
they weren't good.
If you watched Alumni House, I mentioned that I did not watch a lot of football this week. Probably the least amount of football I've watched in 10 years. So I didn't watch hardly any NFL which is bad because we do an NFL podcast, but also I love the NFL, so I feel blind. But let me look at his numbers here.
I saw historically bad is one of the headlines I saw.
Okay, well, they don't have him in the highlights. Hold on one second. Let me look here.
Four of 16 for 47 yards,
Okay.
one interception, sacked twice. His QBR of 2.4. Yeah, it looks like Dylan Gabriel started the game and Shador came in.
Yeah,
but
so did Gabriel get hurt? Because he was 7 of 10, it looks like.
I don't know.
7 of 10 for 68 yards, 70% completion, obviously. Sacked once, no INTs, no touchdowns. I wonder if he got hurt. He had to have gotten hurt. Again, I didn't watch, so I don't. Yes, so he's in concussion protocol.
Yeah. Just as you said that, I scrolled down and saw it.
Okay. So yeah, I apologize for not knowing that.
I did see where during the game Shador Sanders' house got broken into and like $200,000 was stolen from him.
That, yeah. Well, poor guy, $200,000. I'm just joking. I mean, obviously we never want that to happen to anybody, but it is funny when I hear, multimillionaires had, $100,000 stolen. I'm like, okay, well, that's more than I make all year, but you won't even miss it. But obviously, don't commit crimes, people. That's not cool. And it obviously there's the safety and security of your home, and you don't want that feeling. So,
yeah.
So the Chiefs then went to the Broncos and lost. They're really doing bad on the road this year. They're 1-4 on the road. So the Broncos are 9-2, and the Chiefs are 5-5. The score is 22-19. Did you pick the Broncos to win the division? The AFC West?
Nah, I think I picked the Chiefs. I don't remember at this point.
Okay. See, I thought you picked the Broncos and I picked the Chiefs, but I can't remember either. But I do know that you were higher on the Broncos than I was coming into the season. Because I felt like the Broncos obviously have a great coach. They have Sean Payton, who won us our only Super Bowl, and a great young quarterback in Bo Nix. I just didn't think they were quite there yet, but I was wrong. They're 9-2, 6-0 at Mile High.
Their defense is awesome this year. Like they're like historic pace for sacks and like they were really going on about them on the broad. I watched this game Sunday, and this is a really great game. And it literally came down to the final seconds. So, like Bo played good. I mean, he wasn't just outstanding. I mean, he almost had 300 yards passing, no touchdowns, no interceptions, or didn't turn the ball over. But it was for the Chiefs. It's kind of weird. Like they didn't get Travis Kelce really involved in the second half. In the second half, he had 9 receptions for 91 yards and a touchdown. But you're kind of like, if they had him more involved in the first half, could they have maybe, scored one more time in that first half to maybe win the game? I don't know. It's hard to from the TV sometimes see how the defenses are playing a specific player that may be taking him out of the game or something like that.
Sure.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. So then the Sunday night game, one of the few games I did watch a decent amount of, the Eagles beat the Lions 16-9. Lions are now 6-4. Eagles are 8-2.
Did you see how windy it was in this game?
Yes, but even though I watched more of this than I did any other game, wasn't paying super close attention. So,
that they were showing like in pregame they were kicking, and like the ball would be going straight down. All of a sudden, it just gets just booted to the right, and like the whole time you could see the goalposts were just shaking. So this is a very windy game, and in game it didn't really affect the kicking as much. Like they adjusted, but it kind of like it was kind of bothering the passes some. Like some of the passes, like they were kind of getting knocked down stuff. But the Eagles defense just absolutely destroyed Jeff Goff in this game. It was this is one of the worst games that I've ever seen. The Jared Goff, yeah, sorry. Uh, um, this one of the worst games I've seen. It was the worst game he's ever had statistically.
Yeah, 14 of 37, 255, and 1 touchdown.
Yeah. By the end of the game, a lot of his passes were just like hitting the feet of the receivers, and I don't really blame this much on the wind as it was just he had been hit so much in that game that it was just he was just trying to get rid of it and short arming it. It felt like and just Chris Collinsworth was really a lot of people don't like him. I do.
I do too.
I feel like he does a pretty good job with analysis, and he was really talking about how it just seemed like all the hits that he had taken in the game was really affecting his ability to throw at that point.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I don't want to say this and make it sound like Hurts' arm doesn't matter, because it absolutely does. He is a throwing quarterback, but he is more athletic than Goff, so that's not going to hurt a quarterback like that as much. And when you have the running game they have, that doesn't hurt either, because you're able to do a lot for now. Although he had 26 carries, Barkley did for 83 yards, so not incredible. But then the Monday night game, the Cowboys went to Las Vegas, and interesting because it was now Davis's son. I don't know his first name, the son, but Al Davis's son is not quite as eccentric as his father was. But this was a matchup of the two of the more notable owners, or flashy owners in the NFL. And Jerry's boys came out on top 33-16. And that pushes the Raiders to 2-8 and the Cowboys to 4-5. And then, of course, the Saints and the Colts. The Saints and the Colts were both off this week. So that is that wraps up week 11. So we will real quickly go through week 12, and then we're going to skip the Saints game. We'll talk about that at the end, and then we will get out of here. So to start us off on Thursday, the Bills are going to Houston to play the Texans. And the Bills are a 6-point favorite, the rare non-half-point favorite. There's actually, now that I look at it, there's several of those this week, which is very unique. Then the Steelers in the early window on Sunday are going to Chicago. That'll be a good game. Chicago's 7-3, and the Steelers are 6-4. Chicago's a 2.5-point favorite, which we say this every week. That means it is a push, 2.5 points for being the home team. So. Then the Patriots are going to the Bengals, 7-point favorites in that one. The Giants,
does that feel low to you?
What's that?
Does that feel low to you? That 7-point spread? I know the spreads in the NFL aren't normally as big. But...
A little bit. I think one of the reasons that it doesn't strike me as much is the Bengals are home. The Bengals are home, and they're not division foes, but they are conference foes, if you will.
Yeah.
And I only say that to say, like, for instance, the Saints and the Rams have not been in the same division for 25 years, but they play nearly every year. And it's not that way with every NFC team. Like we we don't play the Cardinals like that frequently. But my point is, all I'm trying to say is that with it being a conference game, probably some familiarity, and it being in Cincinnati is probably, if I had to guess, why it is where it is. So it doesn't surprise me that much, but I do feel like it'll be more than that, when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
The 2-9 Giants are headed to Detroit to play the 6-4 Lions. Lions are a 10-point favorite in that, and you see, I mean, that's about the same spread. If you switch the home team there, you're half a point off. So looks like a lot of these are going to be like that. And then the Packers are 6-point favorites as they host the 4-6 Vikings. And then the Seahawks are headed to Tennessee, so Tennessee gets another chance to win a game at home that they won't win because the Seahawks are really good. Here's a funny one. The Seahawks are 13.5-point favorites. Quacker, you can get into this game for $20.
Yeah, as opposed to the Steelers-Bears game, it was $301. So,
yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure that the Bears Stadium is the smallest in the NFL, so I'm sure that contributes to it. That plus cost of living, probably contribute to those things. So all right. So then the Colts are going to the Chiefs. This would be a good one. The Chiefs are 5-5, so it's not like they're ruling the NFL by any stretch. The Colts are 8-2, but Kansas City not surprised here. 3.5-point favorite. Total over under on this is 49.5. I actually think the Chiefs will win this game. Yeah, I think the Colts have been more consistent, but the Chiefs are still the Chiefs. And like we're seeing with the Ravens, I feel like both of these teams are going to find ways to, if they don't win their divisions, they're going to find ways to be close,
yeah.
Because they have good coaching and good talent that plays together. So, and look, for those of you who aren't old enough to remember, Quacker and I remember this. There were many years where the Patriots didn't have excellent seasons, but then they made the playoffs and all bets were off. And this is, and I'm talking about like the Patriots in their heyday. Like there was a period from like 2009 to, if somebody's listening and they're like, "Well, they won a Super Bowl in 10," I don't know the exact years, but there was a 3 or 4 year period where, like, I think they might have appeared in a Super Bowl but didn't win one, and I think most people assumed it was over with. And then they just retooled and kept going through, the 10s until Brady left. Matter of fact, the year that they went undefeated in 2007 and lost to the Giants in the Super Bowl, that offseason, before that season, I thought their dynasty was done because they had been really good since 2001. And they had lost a lot of their players, and they had to kind of reinvent their identity, and they went and got Randy Moss, and they did some other things, and I remember thinking to myself, yeah, I mean that's probably all she wrote, because Randy Moss was older at the time, but he could still play, and so there were definitely like cycles with the Pats and their dynasty, and I feel like we're kind of seeing a little bit of that with the Chiefs, but there were also years where they just weren't that great, but they were good enough to get in the playoffs. Then before next thing you know, they're in the AFC Championship game playing the Colts or something.
Yeah.
So can't count either one of those teams out for sure. And then after that, at the same time, but the next on the list is the Jets going to the aforementioned Ravens. And Baltimore is a 13.5-point favorite as the home team. Not really surprised because, I don't know if Lamar's going to miss or not. Lamar's injured, but he has been back. So we'll see how that goes. Man, I feel like every week the poor Browns, they always wind up being in a matchup that nobody cares about. I think it's because they're so bad, but the 2-8 Browns are going to the 2-8 Raiders, and Las Vegas is a 4-point favorite. Now look, this is interesting. You can get into this game for as low as 103, but when you factor in the cost of living in Las Vegas and that brand new stadium they got to pay for, that's pretty dang cheap. You know, and now I'm not surprised with Cleveland and Las Vegas having the seasons they're having, but that I just thought that was interesting. That of course is the first game of the late window. Then the Cardinals host the Jaguars, and Cardinals are 3-7. Jaguars are 6-4. Jacksonville is a 3-point favorite. Cardinals are funny. They've been real up and down this year. Even in their losses, have been competitive in some. Then they've gotten blown away in a few. So 425. Eagles are going to the Cowboys. This game matters because there's always a lot of juice in this game. These teams hate each other. These fan bases hate each other. Division game, everything like that. So even though the Cowboys are 4-5, I look for this to be a pretty compelling game. And with the Commanders and the Giants having the seasons they're having, the Cowboys, and again, I feel funny saying this to a team with a losing record, but we're 9 games in, so there's still 8 games left in the season. The Cowboys are very much still alive for the wild card.
10 games in.
Sorry. They have a tie. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Well, still 7 games left. They're 4-5.
Yeah.
If they were to go 5-2, in that stretch, then that puts them at 4-5, 4-5-1. Gosh, that tie.
Yeah.
I hate that, and I love soccer, and I have no problem with ties, but the tie keeps messing me up there. But yeah, I mean that would put them at 9-7-1. So, because I started to say 9-7, and I was like, wait, that's not right, and then I had already forgotten about the tie. So anyway, all right, and then the Sunday night game. This should be a really good game, and I will be putting on all the blue and yellow I can find because the Bucs are going to LA to play the Rams. Rams are 7-point favorites. That seems a little high. I feel like if I were to guess the spread on this game, I would say it's like 4.5. So that one seems a little high with a 6-4 team and an 8-2 team. I guess because they're, traveling coast to coast, and they're, not quite as good. They're on the road. Maybe that's why. But yeah. And then finally on Monday night, the Panthers are going to the 49ers. Let's go 49ers, win this game. And then the teams that are off are the Broncos, the Dolphins, the Chargers, and the Commanders. So 3 AFC teams and an NFC team. All right. So the final game we're going to talk about is the game Quacker and I care about the most. And that is the Atlanta Falcons, who are 3-7 and 1-4 away, are headed to the 2-8 Saints, who are 2-8. Of course, I just said that, and 1-4 at home. So the Saints are a 1.5-point favorite in this game.
The total is so small.
It is. Well, here's what's interesting, though. I think that actually is more of a reflection of Penix's injury than it is the Saints, because it's not like Shuck has established himself in, his game and a half of being like a top 10 quarterback, but he's shown us some hope, right? So I hope, coming off of a bye week, that the Saints come out with their hair on fire in this game, and they probably will. The Falcons game is always a big game, and this game does matter because should the Saints win this game, they are in third place in the division, and no, that does not matter for playoffs. These teams aren't making the playoffs, but it matters, to the players, and it matters to the fans.
Right.
Well, the fans who don't believe in tanking. If you have not watched us before, I never want my team to tank just so you can get a top 5 pick or whatever. Win as many games as you can, build, compete. So I'd rather finish third in the division than fourth every day of the week. So, I'm excited to see what the bye week does because, this is the first time we've seen Kellen Moore have a bye week. We have a little tiny bit of momentum after beating Carolina and, Shuck having a good game. So I don't.
The bye week didn't beat us.
Right, the bye
We didn't
week
have any
didn't beat
players get in
us.
trouble.
Yeah, no player. Yeah, exactly. Nobody got arrested that we know of. So I don't know. I mean, like my hope is that they come out and they just dominate being at home. But I will be watching with a lot of interest to see
Yeah.
how this first Kellen Moore bye week goes. And I think I know I do, but I think Quacker and I both really want Kellen Moore to succeed in New Orleans. Um, so hopefully that goes well. You have any thoughts on this
Yeah.
one?
There's never been a coach that's coached my team that I didn't want to succeed for sure. I was, the least enthusiastic about Dennis Allen as the head coach because I knew his previous record and was never really impressed with his leadership as a head coach. I just, but I still wanted to succeed because I always wanted my team to be successful. Um, so yeah, obviously I want Kellen Moore to come in and break the franchise record for wins as a head
Sure.
coach and all that. But um,
Well, and he's
yeah, he's
young,
got
right?
one.
So if
Yeah,
he does really well there and decides he loves New Orleans and wants to stay, that means a bright future for the
yeah,
franchise. I think that's the other thing. Um, so, well, all right.
yeah. I
So
this what concerns me is the amount of players that the Saints have gotten rid of, either through trades or through just like with the Brandon Cooks, where they just released him. Obviously, he wanted to go somewhere because he's probably toward the end of his career. He wanted to go somewhere where he could still be competitive, make a playoff run.
but you know what
But
though, and I know this is a different regime, like coaching staff, but Brandon Cooks didn't leave on good terms his first go around. And I don't know very many NFL players who returned to a team that they had success with and it goes really well, right? Like Jimmy Graham, um, Mark Ingram, trying to think uh, of some other players
when
who
Graham
came back.
came back, he was pretty old at that point as far as
Well, but
for a tight end.
Brandon Cooks
He
isn't
was pretty.
young though. Like
I know.
they were probably
That's
gone for
that's what
about
I'm
the same
saying.
amount of time. Like that. Like I'm just saying. Normally, round 2 doesn't go that great. I mean, same way in
Yeah.
college, you get a coach back for a second tenure, and it's normally not as good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't know why that is necessarily, but I remember Brandon Cooks not really wanting to be there towards the end of his tenure last time, and it was kind of a messy divorce. So I kind of wonder if Loomis and the Bensons were just like, just let him go. Like we gave it another shot, it didn't work. Now, as far as the other guys, part of this is they're trying to set themselves up to retool in the offseason, obviously, and
Yeah.
relieve some of their cap space. And there's also conversations going on that nobody outside of the building knows about. Whether it be, and now don't anyone take this as I'm making a prediction because I'm not, but maybe Demario Davis or Cam Jordan has said, hey, we're gonna, I'm gonna stay one more year, or I'm thinking I'm gonna stay, or anything. I mean, there's conversations like that happen all over the place. So I think that a lot of
Yeah.
times these moves are being made based on factors that nobody who's not, in the front office and the coaching office know about. Um, that doesn't alarm me so much. And like I said, the Brandon Cooks thing. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I kind of forgot he was on the team again. Like,
Yeah.
and I don't mean that like negatively. I loved it when he was there the first time, but it just, it wasn't the same experience. So, I'm fine with
Yeah.
it. I'm fine with
Yeah.
him
Not
being gone.
my only reason for saying that is that Shook is having less and less weapons to throw to. Right.
Yeah.
He's having less people to turn to. So you're having more responsibility put on to Chris Olave's shoulders, more responsibility put on to Alvin Kamara's shoulders, and players like
Johnson.
that.
Yeah.
And yeah, and at some point you just gotta wonder, does it get to be too much?
Well, I think there's two things to it. I think they're choosing who they're going to keep to build a future with. And you and I, we talked about this. Olave's younger than um, Shaheed, so like I would have been fine getting rid of either one, but not both. I'm a
mm-hmm.
little happier keeping Olave because while he has been injury prone, he looks very promising when he's on the field, and he's an I think he's an overall better player. Shaheed is obviously like one of the fastest players in the league and an
Yeah,
incredible returner. He wasn't like the best receiver we've ever had. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
but I think part of it is that they are setting up for the core they want to build around in the future. But I think the other aspect of this is Moore and Loomis are saying, look, this is the pros, and we are and I have to do this in my job all the time. My job has a performance element to it, and I tell my people all of the time, hey, look, we're professionals, and if we have an audible, or we gotta make a change, I expect everybody here to be able to roll with it.
mm-hmm.
And that's a different thing than when you're in college or when you're learning. And so I do think part of it is, all right, we know we need to make these changes to set up for the future. Let's see how resilient and how flexible Shuck is. And
Yeah,
maybe both, maybe Rattler and Shuck. That was maybe that was a little bit of their philosophy throughout the season with them. But to me, that's kind of what it seems like, is it's those two things together. But it's interesting. We'll see. Look, man, I mean, at the end of the day, the Saints have 7 games left. If they go 7-0, they have a winning season. That's all there is to it. Are they going to
yeah,
go 7-0? No, they're not, because they have to play the Bucks again. So there's at least one more loss. But anyway, yeah. So gonna be a good weekend. Really good weekend. In fact, it's gonna be boys. It's here, boys and girls. If there's any girls watching, this is the time, man. All right. So 1 week from today, everybody's gonna be hyped up at this time of day because they had a 4-hour nap after their meal. Have football all day. Have football all weekend, rivalry games, all this craziness. Then you got conference championships, and then the NFL just continues to heat up, and then you got Christmas. This is the time, man. Like,
mm-hmm.
From August to April is my sports season. I love college baseball, but football all the way through the end of basketball is my prime time. But the prime time of my prime time is mid-November through about middle of January-ish. It's just It's just awesome. So I'm excited. It's like Christmas because it is Christmas. um, but all right, any final thoughts?
No,
All
that's about it for tonight.
You heard it here first, folks, from Quacker. Um, just messing around. All right, so Quacker, where can people find the show?
You can find us here on YouTube. You can find us on Twitch, which some of you may be watching on Twitch now. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook, all those with the Alumni House Podcast, which is our, I guess you want to call it our parent show, sister show, whatever. That's our college show, what all this is under. And then you can find us on X at Alumni House Pod.
All right, and you can find our personal accounts for X underneath our faces. So we better get out of here because I'm getting tired and I'm starting to feel a little bit delirious even with the words I'm using. So thank you guys for joining us as always. Y'all have a great evening, and we will see you tomorrow night for the Alumni House College Football Weekend Preview. See you later, guys.